Hello, I'm Executive Chef Joseph Schultz and welcome to our kitchen. Today I'd like to share with you my recipe and procedure for making my cinnamon rolls. What can I tell you? These cinnamon rolls are rich, sweet, flavorful, have fruit, nuts, and local bourbon from here in Wisconsin in it. What could be better? So join me now as I show you how I make my cinnamon rolls. Well, the first thing I like to do is get my yeast blooming and rehydrated. I have here my milk, whole milk, and I have it microwaved to about 105 degrees Fahrenheit. And let's go ahead and put our yeast into it. I will take my little trusty whisk and go ahead and mix this together. So now we're gonna let this sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and we're going to go ahead and mix our dry ingredients. Now for our dry ingredients, let's go ahead and take our mixing bowl. Let's add our flour to it. I'm using bread flour. I highly recommend bread flour for this task, as it's going to have a lower protein and it's going to give you a nicer dough. Let's add our sugar, butter, and pinch of salt. Go ahead and attach it to your mixer, and let's fit it with our dough hook. Go ahead and process it on low speed for 3 minutes. So now that our mixture has been going for 3 minutes, let's go ahead and slowly add our milk and yeast mixture in a nice steady stream. And I will also increase the speed to closer to medium. Now you'll see it begin to clump up. So now it's clumping up, but it hasn't developed into a complete dough ball yet. At this time, I want to scrape my measuring cup and get the remaining yeast in there. And then let's add our lightly beaten egg. Sorry. Back again, slow. Once it gets incorporated, now go ahead and turn your speed up to medium high. And as your dough starts to come together, we're gonna wanna run this until it comes to one large dough ball. Now you see the dough ball came together and all of the dough has scraped away from the sides of the bowl. At this time, we are now ready to transfer it from this bowl to a floured workbench and to begin our kneading. Well, here we are. We have our workbench lightly floured. The dough is not really that sticky. So now what I like to do is kind of work it out. Those of you that are familiar with bread making, very similar to the slap and fold method, to where you're going to incorporate some air into the bread dough, especially when making sourdough. So with this one, what I like to do is I will just continuously press it out. I fold it over gently with the palm of your hand, then fold in kind of like a circular motion, kind of like a flower. And let's just keep working it in. And this you're going to want to do for about 5-7 minutes or so. I don't think you need to go much further than that. All right, so there we go. We're done kneading our dough for now. So what I'll do is I'm going to work it into a little ball. And then we're going to transfer it to a bowl and cover it with plastic wrap and put it into a warm, draft-free area. Couple tricks you can do. One is you could take the dough, put it into the oven, and turn the oven light on. That will get you about 100 degrees Fahrenheit and will enable this to proof. Now, I do recommend sometimes taking a touch of oil and put it to the bowl just to prevent it from sticking a little. So plastic wrap, put it in a proofer. We're gonna proof this for, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 2 hours. It depends. We're looking for this to double in size. Well, now for our filling, let's go ahead and take our brown sugar, put that into our bowl, mixing bowl. Let's add our butter. Let's add our cinnamon. And I'm gonna go ahead and begin to start mixing this together. And for this step, we're gonna utilize our paddle attachment. So let's go ahead and turn this on low and allow this to mix in. Now that our butter and sugar have kind of crumbled together, I'm gonna go ahead and add my bourbon. Now from this point, we're gonna wanna cream it. We want it to be soft enough to where we can spread it over our dough. So now that it all came together, let's go ahead and add our chopped walnuts. And then now I want to add my dried currants. Again, that's optional as well. But trust me, if you try it this way, you're gonna be hooked. Okay, now that everything has been mixed together, all you're looking to do is make this spreadable, pliable. That's it. You could make it a little more liquidy if you want to. The chopped nuts, as some of them grind up, they'll turn to dust. They will end up absorbing some of the liquid, but this is more than able to be spread. Now, for our cream cheese topping, let's go ahead and add our cream cheese, room temperature, cut into cubes, to the mixing bowl. Powdered sugar. Here, I like to add my maple sugar. If you don't have maple sugar, don't worry. Feel free to add maple syrup or even maple extract. Let's add our vanilla bean paste. And now we're gonna go ahead and work this in our machine again using the paddle attachment. Start off slow until the powdered sugar gets absorbed, and then increase your speed and to get it nice, light, airy, and creamy. And along the way, be certain to scrape the sides. Let's go ahead and take a look. So now I like to push the material down to the center, like so. And now go ahead and run it back into the machine again for another minute or two. And once you've reached your desired consistency or creaminess and everything is incorporated, we are ready to on to the next step. Well, here we are after our proofing. Such a happy dough, huh? So, a little bit of flour again. So we'll press it out. Now what I want to do is, ultimately I'm looking to make it in the shape of a rectangle. So right around 11 inches by 15 inches. So let's go ahead and start rolling it out. Okay, so now I want to turn it this way. I like working it with this way because it's good lengthwise, because it's going to be much easier to roll it up. When we roll it this way. So we have it cut. I'm sorry, we have it rolled into a shape we want. Let's go ahead and add our
filling. Now some people will do this. Some people will just smear the butter on, sprinkle the nuts, sprinkle the cinnamon, etc. I like to whip mine together like this. It does not matter, honestly. Whatever you're more comfortable with. I've worked in bakeries before where they would smear the butter or the margarine down and they'd spray it with water to help get the cinnamon to stick. You know, whatever. I'm all about the flavor, so. And I will run this all the way to just about the end. I will leave a little bit of space here where the dough is not going to be covered because I want it to stick. Okay. Next is the rolling. So at this point, I just kind of gently pick a little up and then start rolling it ahead. I don't press down too hard with it, but I do roll it tight enough so there's no gaps. I want it to be nice and snug. Okay. And the ends, I will press in a little bit. I want to try to keep the filling to stay inside and not sneak out on me. Very much like when I'm making my bagels. So now I will roll it a little, wiggle like so. And what that's going to do is I want to make that seam at the bottom stick together. We will take our dish and go ahead and butter it. You could use non-stick spray if you like. But I gotta be honest with you, again, flavor. Butter's better. So now that we have our dish buttered, we're gonna go ahead and slice our cinnamon roll. So we're gonna cut this into 12 pieces. So what I like to do is I will cut mine in half first, kind of get myself a eye here, and then so, and then again, I will cut it in half. Gently saw back and forth like so, because you don't want to tear it apart too much. And from this, make myself a little mark. Cut that into thirds. So now we will go ahead and lay these into our dish. Okay. There you go. So now let's cover this with plastic wrap, and we're going to put it in a warm area again and allow it to proof up again. Maybe about 30 minutes or so. Okay, now after our cinnamon rolls have proofed, let's go ahead and remove the plastic. You notice how they puff back up again. Love it. And if you know with breads, whenever you push it in with your finger, and if it pops up immediately, it's underproofed. If the dimple stays sunk there or deflates, it's overproofed. If it slowly comes back part of the way, you're proofed correctly or improperly. So now, my little secret trick is this: heavy cream. So I will pour some heavy cream across the top of this, and then allow this to soak down into the cinnamon rolls. Don't tell anybody, okay? We're gonna keep this a secret. That way, whenever you make them for someone, you have that little ace up your sleeve. Okay, so now we will place this into an oven, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to bake it for 25 minutes. 20 minutes, check it there, and then if it's not quite golden brown enough or it's not done, continue going about 3-minute increments.
Well, I just pulled them from the oven. At the 20-minute mark, 350 Fahrenheit, I checked the internal temperature with a digital thermometer, and it was at about 156 degrees Fahrenheit. Our target is 190 degrees Fahrenheit. I added an additional 6 minutes, and it came out on spot. So now I pulled it out. I'm gonna let them sit and cool for at least 15 minutes before icing them.
Well, now that our cinnamon rolls have cooled down enough, I hope, time for the icing. Several ways to do it. You could just take a dollop and put it on each one, or you can go ahead and basically just smear it across the entire top. Personally, I really love the frosting on these things, so I don't think it's possible to put too much on. So
well, there you have my cinnamon rolls. It's a very good recipe. They were so rich, fluffy, airy, decadent. I gotta give myself credit. I really love these things. I don't eat them an awful lot, but they are well worth the work. I like making mine fresh, but if you were to make these and you wanted to just kind of prep ahead and serve them another day, whenever you get the roll rolled up and cut into the portions and you put it into your dish, that's the time you would wrap it with plastic and put it into the refrigerator and save it for the following day. That's a good resting point for the dough. Believe it or not, even in the refrigerator, just like sourdough breads and things as such, it's still gonna proof inside the refrigerator. It's just gonna be a lot slower. When you get up in the morning and you want to bake them fresh for breakfast, it may already be ready to go. You can just top it with the heavy cream and then just go ahead and go straight to your baking process. I recommend 190 degrees Fahrenheit and allow it to carry over cook the remaining way. That way it doesn't dry out on you. Moisture is very important in this dish. So the currants, the bourbon, things as such, or the maple, that's all just up to you if you want to do it. I like it just because all these flavors tie together. I've already done before in the filling where I take an apple and I peel it and I grate it and then throw it in the mix and put it in there as well. So it's kind of like almost an apple fritter or an apple, donut or Danish kind of thing with the cinnamon roll. So just things to think about to elevate your cinnamon roll. Well, thank you very much for joining. I hope you give this recipe a shot. Give me some feedback and let me know what you think about it. Thank you very much. Yeah.